And welcome back. Now, the initial whistleblower in the controversial arms deal, Good Party leader Patricia de Lille, has welcomed the High Court judgment setting aside the findings of the Seriti Commission of Inquiry into that multi-billion rand arms deal. Now, the court said that the commission had failed in its legal mandate, the test of veracity of crucial evidence. And let's get some further reaction now from Patricia de Lille, who joins us from our studios in Sea Point in Cape Town. Mr. Lille, thanks so much for your time and welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning.
So you stated yesterday that you welcome this judgment, but of course you've had more time since that announcement to actually mull over what this means. So having had that opportunity, what are the salient points for you that you believe we should be reflecting on at this point after that judgment?
Well, certainly, Sakina, I think we could already see when the terms of reference that were given to Seriti Commission, that it was not in order. Part of the terms of reference was that Judge Seriti had to report to the former President Jacob Zuma every 6 months. He also never summons the former president to appear before the commission, even though he is implicated in that. With hindsight, the arms deal was a litmus test for our democracy. If we had dealt with the crooks in our system and in government 20 years ago, we would have not allowed the situation that we see today where crooks are really looting the state coffers. It's because of the arms deal, because we try to protect the corrupt and the bad apples within government. And, 20 years ago, on the 9th of September 1999, I went to Parliament and asked for a Judicial Commission of Inquiry. Unfortunately, we have now had the outcome of a whitewash commission that actually attacked us who came forward with the allegations and asked that the allegations be tested. They never tested the allegations. And also the lifespan of that commission was expanded time after time. So we wasted millions. And I think it's only fair that the taxpayers of this country demand that our millions be paid back.
Be paid back by whom? Because we understand this cost the South African taxpayer around 140 million rand for that duration of the Seriti Commission. So yes. Who should pay back the money?
I think that all the evidence leaders that actually had a brief as to how to question us, that came with the allegations, all of the evidence leaders must give back our money. The fees that have been paid to Judge Seriti must be paid back. We hear many court judgments nowadays where the court order people who go for litigation to, like the public protector, for instance, to pay back the money. I think there's similar circumstances that prevail here where we can demand that the money be paid back. But I also want to commend the non-profit organizations who really took this on review on behalf of all of us.
Now, given that that commission did sit for a couple of years and people actually went there
yes.
to give evidence, didn't that in some way legitimize that process? Because you speak to the terms of reference, talking about the shortcomings already from that point. So why then go there and legitimize it if indeed you felt that this was going to be a whitewash from the get-go?
Well, Sakina, I really went there in good faith. We were all subpoenaed to appear before the commission. I knew that the Lille dossier and the allegations contained in there led to 2 successful prosecutions of Shabir Sheikh and Tony Ngeni. And I had confidence then that in Judge Seriti, which I know as a personal friend, that he was going to do the right thing. And so we went there as citizens to do our civil duty. Unfortunately, we were made to be the villains in this case, in that we were acting on hearsay. But the judge misunderstood his brief. His brief was to investigate the allegations and not ask me, for instance, to say that where did I get the information from?
So do you still believe that that's not an important question, where you got the information from?
Well, I've been asked the question before when I appeared in the High Court before Judge Hilary Squires, and I said that I got the information from people who were concerned about corruption. But as usual, you know, they always want to shoot the messenger. I mean, I went to 2 years of hell, of death threats, having been followed by the NIA. And so, you know, to be a whistleblower in this country is not easy. And I had to be strong so that we can encourage more people to blow the whistle on corruption issues.
So what now? What should happen? The Seriti Commission findings have been set aside. But what now with regard to investigation into the arms deal?
Sakina, I still have information that I went to Germany in 2002 with Judge Willem Heath. And we got a court case in Munich where one of the arms suppliers has given discounted cars to 29 other South Africans, and they paid an admission of guilt fine. I brought back the case number, and I wrote to the German authorities to hand over the information, but they said they will do it on condition that our own NPA ask for that information. I wrote to Vusi Pakoli, who was then the National Director of Public Prosecutions. He refused. I even took it further. I tried to go for a private prosecution, but a private prosecution, the NPA must first decide they're not going to prosecute. It's really worth the while to take out that information again, give it to the new NPA head, and then see if we can continue unraveling all of this corruption. And I will certainly be considering doing that.
Do you think that there will be a different outcome, considering what's happened already, considering what a commission of inquiry into this particular matter has cost the taxpayer with nothing to show for at the end of the day?
If you'd asked me that question a few years ago, I was going to say no. But I think we've restored the faith in the National Director of Public Prosecution and the NPA. We put our faith in the judicial system that is independent, and that our judicial system has shown in the past that they will not hesitate to act against any excesses committed by anyone. So I think it's worth the trial, even though it's 20 years later. But, you know, and the system was very, very slow to get us to where we are today. But it shows you that you can never hide the truth. The truth will always come out.
And we are going to leave that there. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you so much.
Patricia de Lille giving us her reaction, the initial whistleblower on this arms deal corruption issue, and saying that, you know, she is considering a few other options in terms of what to do to move this matter forward. All right, we'll also be speaking to Sandile Swana, independent political analyst, about the Seriti Commission and the setting aside of the findings of that particular commission. What does it mean? How do we move forward? So Sandile Swana with us, and he'll be with us after this break.